Hello and welcome to your next tutorial. In this video we're going to be creating some controllers and some IK handles for the rig that we've already created joints for. So might as well get stuck in straight away with creating some IKs. So we're going to go with the legs first and then we're going to work through the arms. In fact, we're going to get all the IKs in first and then we're going to do the controllers from there. So we want this tool up here, which is create IK handle. So if we click on that, we can go to the top of our left leg, select that, and then go to the bottom of our left leg and click on our ankle joint. And now what you'll notice is with that, I can now start moving the leg up and down, and it will move the knee with it, which is nice, and that's what we want. It doesn't stretch either, so that's as far as it will go. So we're going to do exactly the same now for the the right leg. So I'm going to select the top of the leg and then the bottom of the leg, and then again we've got that IK handle nicely made for us. So I am just going to go down to the IK handle and I'm going to name it IK underscore L underscore leg. Then I'm going to do the same for the right leg. So now I've got those two IKs and they are named appropriately. So the next one is going to be our left arm. So we're going to grab the IK handle, going to click the shoulder joint, then we're going to come in a little bit closer and select the wrist joint, and that should have, yeah, there we go. So again, that happening. I do have snap to point on, so it's being a bit dodgy, but yeah, that's working for us. That's exactly what we wanted. So we have that now on the left arm. Just need to name it IK underscore left underscore. Let's call it hand, because that's what we're going to be joining to a little bit later on. And then we're going to do the same for our other IK, or for our right arm. So we're going to grab the shoulder and then the wrist. Going to name it IK underscore right hand. Nice. So now that's going to work just as we need it to as well. Awesome. Cool. So I'm going to just create an IK for our spine now. So I'm going to go to skeleton, create an IK spline handle. That's fine. Let's create IK spline handle. I'm going to select the hip and then the part of the spine that connects to the clavicles. Awesome. So I'm going to call that hip underscore curve. And that's at the bottom. So what I am going to do quickly while I've got it in my mind, I'm just going to take this to the hip here. I'm going to go to snap to point at this part and just reorienting the origin point for it, and I'm going to hit D again so that doesn't change after that now. So should beautiful. Cool. So I've got that now. I can view that again. I'm going to start getting some controls in here now. So I would like to create a NURBS circle. It comes in very small because my model's quite a bit bigger than what my usual projects are. It's still on snap to point. So I'm going to turn that off. I'm just going to put that there on that leg there. I'm then going to just bring that in, rotate it a little bit, and then I can let's view the model now. Let's just go to control vertex, and I just want to grab these three here, bring them down a bit, grab these three here, bring them in a bit. Oh, it's still got snap to point on. There we go. Cool. Let's go to Q, click off of there, go to object mode. Nice, so we've got our controller there. What I am going to do is duplicate it, and then I'm going to just make sure that we hide our mesh, and I want to snap to point here. Awesome. I am going to rotate this as well. So what was the rotation on there? On the Y. Let's copy that. Just put the same in on here, but negative. Cool. So what I want to do now is I want to freeze the transformations on these. So before I do anything else with these controllers, in fact I should name them first. So this is going to be left leg CTRL controller, and then the second one is going to be right leg CTRL. Cool, so I've got those named, and all I need to do now is freeze the transformations. So what freeze transformations does is, if we look at our channel box over here, that's all of the points for this controller. And when we come to animating, we can't just zero things out to get back to this point. So what we need to do is we need to go to modify and freeze transformations, and that will then set everything to the original point for us. So I need to do that on all of my controllers, and it's imperative that we do so. So now what I can do is I can grab the controller, I can grab the left leg IK handle, and then I'm going to constrain to the point. Once I've done that, I can select the controller, and then shift select the joint, and I want to constrain on the orient. And then on here, I want to constrain on all the axes, and hit apply and close. And now what that will do is, if I only have that selected, I can use the IK handles for the movement up and down, and then I can use the rotation for the ankle, and it won't break as far as we know. And then I can just zero that out, and it goes back to normal. So I need to do the same for the other now. So I'm going to click on the right leg control, which is all zeroed out. I'm going to go to the IK right leg, going to constrain to point, going to grab the controller and the joint and constrain on the orient. Beautiful. And then that should do exactly the same, which it still got snap to point on. Something's not right there. Let's get rid of that and just try that again. Cool. So let's select our controller, control, and select our right IK, constrain that, and then select our joint and constrain on the orient, and that's what we want. So okay, so something's not quite right here. I know why. There we go. So it's just because, and what about the rotation? Okay, the rotation's not working, so that tells me that it's just not been done yet. So the reason that was bugging out a bit is because I hadn't deselected the joint, and I was trying to do movement on both of them. There we go. So that's nice, and then rotation is working. Beautiful. And then just set all of these to 0, and I'll sort it back into its original point. Awesome. So now we're going to go ahead and do the same for the arms. So I'm going to create a new circle. Let's make it a bit bigger. And then let's put it close to where we need it. And then let's hide that. Take that there, and then snap to point. Awesome. Do that. Let's just set this up in a nice sort of okay, that seems to do the job. What about on this one? Yeah, that'll do. What I do want to do though is I just want to make this a different shape. So I'm going to go to Control Vertex, going to grab some of these. I'm just going to bring them in a bit. Then I'm going to go to my, I'm going to deselect and go to Object Mode, and then just make the whole object a bit smaller. Cool. I'm going to duplicate this now, and I'm going to move him to the other side. And then instead of that on the rotate Z, I'm going to have negative that on the rotate Z. And then we should have that pretty much in the right place. I'm just going to hide that, have snap to point on and drag him there. And then he's in the right spot. So now I can show my model back and we can start freezing these transformations. So we're going to go to modify and freeze transformations on both of these controllers. I'm going to go down and name them. So this is going to be L underscore arm or hand CTRL, and then this one is going to be that is frozen, that's frozen too, and this one's going to be R underscore hand underscore controller. Beautiful. So I'm going to grab the left controller now, and we're going to focus on this side first, and I'm going to grab the left hand as well. So I've got, I'm just going to do it like I did before. On the IK, I'm going to constrain to point, and then I'm going to select my controller again and select the joint and constrain on the orient, and it's constraining on all the axes, and that's fine. So if I select that, let's turn that off. Yeah, beautiful. In fact, let's check the rotation. The rotation's working as well. Awesome. So now it's the same on this side. So we've got our right controller. I'm going to go to our IK and constrain to point. I'm going to select our controller and the joint and constrain on the orient to all axes and hit there. And then just like before, okay, make sure we're only selecting the controller, and there we are, that's beautiful. And then what about the rotation? That's working too. Nice. So that works quite nicely. Everything seems to be working so far. So we're underway. So we want to now create a controller for the hips, for the shoulders, and for the head. So we're going to start with the hips first. So we're going to create a NURBS circle, make it nice and big, bring it up here, hide the model, and snap to point, and just make sure that's in the right place. Let's make sure we turn that back off. In fact, what we can do is we can tell you what, no, that's fine. That's fine as it is. So we've got that NURBS circle now, and we've got our IK handle for this. So we're going to go to the IK handle, and we're going to constrain need to freeze the transformations first. So before I constrain anything, I've got my controller. I'm going to freeze the transformations so everything's zeroed out. And now what I can do is I can grab the controller and the IK handle and constrain to point. And then I can grab the NURB circle and the hip curve, constrain on the orient, but this time only on the X and the Y. I'm going to hit apply and close that. So what I can do now is I can grab this controller, so I need to name it, so this is going to be the hip underscore controller, and we need to open up a connection editor. So we have our hip controls on the left here, so we want to be looking for our rotate Y, and then on the right we want to have our hip curve, and we're going to reload that on there. We're looking for roll, I don't see roll. Let's try the IK handle. This should be IK underscore and then underscore hip as well. And then we can hit roll here. And then we know that's there if it's highlighted there. So we now have that working for us as well. So when we move this, we rotate at the hips, it's going to twist around, and if we move, why is our hip controller not working? There we go. So we have that working for us as well. So we've got the roll. Nice, beautiful. That's working. Awesome. So we're going to create another controller, but this time for our shoulders. So we're going to create a NURBS primitive on the circle. We're going to make it nice and big. Let's bring it up to about here. And then I'm just going to scale this a bit. In fact, no, let's position it first. Snap to point, I'm going to take that back to there. Lovely. Turn it back on, turn that on. And then what I am going to do is I'm going to go to control vertex. No, object mode. And then I'm going to bring that in a bit. Now I'm going to control vertex and I'm going to grab these three. Oh. And I'm going to grab these three. I'm going to just bring them down a bit. In fact, no, let's just grab that one and this one and see what happens if I just drag those ones down. Nice. So I've got that controller there now. So what I want to do is I'm just going to grab it as a whole. This is going to be my chest underscore controller. And this is going to go, I'm going to grab that and get this point here. Going to constrain to point. And then on this, so I'm going to grab NURBS curve and this joint, and I'm going to constrain on the orient again, only using the X and the Y. Let's try it on all of them. So that's worked out quite well. So what I want to do now is I want to grab this, and I'm going to go and open the general editor, connection editor, and then I'm going to grab the IK hip and reload the right. So I'm going to go for the rotate on the Y, and we need to find twist this time. Twist. And that should show us a twist on here. How come it's not? We'll close that. So with this controller, again, a twist there, but it's not taking that, and the reason that is because we need to drag that into there. Okay, and then up here, that's moving without it. What about if I drag this one down? That's coming with it. If I drag this one anywhere, nothing happens. Awesome. So that's working. Now what we need to do is we need to just create a controller for the head. And all we're going to do is get a NURBS primitive circle, make it nice and big so we can see it, bring it to the top. We're going to have it about there. Make sure that it's straight to that point. Beautiful. Let's also... Is there any reason to rotate it? I don't think so. Tell you what, let's rotate it on the X and the Z. Sorry, not the Z, the Y. And then all we need to do is, let's make it a bit bigger. I'll tell you what, I don't like that. Let's just have it at 0. Cool, so that is that. Is that frozen? Oh, that might be why it didn't show up. These transformations aren't frozen. Right, let's go all the way back. Nice. So we forgot to freeze this transformation, so I'm just going to do that all really quickly. Freeze that transformation, grab that now, press Q, go to the IK, constrain to point, and then grab the joint, constrain to orient, apply, beautiful, go to Windows, and go to connection editor. That's going to be our reload left, and then the IK hip is going to be our reload right. I'm going to look for rotate on the Y and twist there, and then that has now worked, and we know it's worked. So now what I can do is I can grab that chest and put it in the hip controller, and now the hip controller will move with it, and the same, and this will move on its own from it. and then if that moves, it all moves together. Beautiful. So now it's just the head. So I'm just going to go to create NURBS circle. Let's make it nice and big. Let's bring it right up to the head. Just put him there. Show him back now. And then what we want to do is freeze transformations and then name it head underscore CTRL. And this is going to constrain to this joint on the point. Oh, not, and on the orient, and then that should now okay, did not work, so I think we don't actually need to constrain it on the point, just constrain it on the orient. And now no, unless that might be why. Yeah, that's why. So I had the joint selected as well, which is why it wasn't working. Awesome. So now that is all of the controllers set on our model now. So if I was to show none, show polygons, and show NURBS curves, we now have a fairly decent rig here. Oh, I could have pushed him forward a bit there, but that's fine. There we go. And then we've got, that could be, not sure if freezing them now is going to do anything. That's fine. Okay, so what we can do now is we could put the head, let's open this up, put the head into the chest, put the right leg into the hip, sorry, that was the left leg, and then the right leg into the hip, then the left hand into the chest controller, and the right hand into the chest controller, and we should now have everything move together. Sorry, these ones don't need to be in here. There's another one that we're going to do as a master. And then hit 0 on these. Cool. So the very last controller that we can use is going to be our world controller. So we're going to hit NURBS primitive circle, make it nice and big. Let's just change the size, the shape of it. Okay, doesn't want to do that. So let's try. Well, let's just have a bit of a weird shape, that's fine. Shape doesn't matter too much. I would have liked to have made it a bit more let's just change all of that to 30, and then go to control vertex, which doesn't seem to want to do anything. No. Okay, we'll just have it as a circle then. and then all we do here is put everything else in it. So this can be our wheel control. And then that all goes into there. That goes into there. What's in there so far? I don't need that hip curve in there. So now, wherever this goes, everything else goes. And that's all we need for our rig now. And everything's nicely named in here as well. And we've got all our IK handles, all of this control. Managed to put the right leg in there. Cool. Grab that, and here we go. Nice. So we can crouch, put them in a few different positions. All that's left to do, which has actually worked out quite well, is probably some skinning. But this does seem to have worked fairly decently. I mean, there's places like in here where we could tighten it up a bit. But for now, that's all you need for this this tutorial. I hope you all have a good time with this. I don't know why keyframes suddenly come here as well, so we'll delete that. But we've got some nice controls here. Set these back to 0. So we've got some controls here for the arms, the legs, the chest and the head. And we can manipulate it all quite nicely. We can put him in a bit of a pose for the purposes of today. Put his leg out here. Put his leg proper out here. Let's make him crouch a bit more. Almost like a Spider-Man sort of thing. Bring his hand up here. And there we go. So we've got him in a bit of a pose. Probably put his hand across here a bit more forward. Probably put some controls in his, some more stuff in his arms a little bit later. But that's it for today. I hope you have managed to get something down for this, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy.